Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of A Talk with the Elementals. Forgive the background noise, we were at a public park, so if anybody creeps up on us here, sorry about that. Like that. Right on cue. Anyway, this particular episode, barring any loud Howards that come past us, is going to be about a species we barely know about, which helps people with financial situations and businesses. We've encountered them in the past, and I discovered they were an elemental species, and their type of fae is what they look like. Very much like I want to say a fairy meets a wasp, if you want to say that in their own way.
Which makes sense since you say that, because that's kind of what I saw. I couldn't figure out what I was saying. I was thinking a bee, but it was segmented, but it had wings. So they
fly. Yeah, they fly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I've seen it.
Yeah, and there's several following us around today. So they followed us around an antique fair earlier today too. All right. Like I said, barring any noise or happenstances that happen here, let's see how well we can do this episode today, given this place is crowded. So, you remember what park we're at? Gold Lake or Goldwater? Goldwater Lake, yes. Goldwater Lake in Prescott.
So part of the park system here.
Yes. All right. Okay, and the species, from what they told me their name was, they called themselves the Kajal, and it seems very Middle Eastern sounding, like they helped merchants in the Middle Eastern times, and in the like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Babylonian times. So, okay, let's see. Okay, you can come in anytime now. Forgive the intrusions. The noisiness is at acceptable levels for our kind, meaning technological and verbal. Our species is known as the Kajal. This one is correct. We did inhabit the Mesopotamian era, very much after your last great flood, and when your Babylonian money system came into effect. Before that, during your world of magic and during the invasion times therein, your kind saved us from extinction. We are indeed an insectoid and fae type species, a blending of two species. We were not created as we know as such, unless you count what you call prime creator. We evolved this way, out in a distant system that you've never heard of. We are related also to your fae and your bee consciousnesses. We are a blending of all of these. But if you saw one of our kind, we could extend ourselves to look like one of you, meaning we can change size and shape. You would call it molecular, cellular, solid. We have different terminology, but I digress. Your kind came out of the mud and the muck several times, also to be integrated into this money system in which you find yourselves in servitude to. We do not point fingers, but we help people gain prominence in that system so that you can raise your energies to a certain extent within it, making life easier, as you would say. This is repayment in full for what was done for us in ancient times, when your dark Anunnaki and or harvesters attempted to eradicate our kind because we had a particular energy that was immune to their influence. They recognized us as sentient, but they also recognized us as a threat. So we turned their threatening money system and slavery system on its head by helping businesses and also helping people find what they do not yet know they need, as some business people would put it. Yes, we may sound like galactic used car salesmen, as some would put it, but that particular distinction goes to the Canis of Canis Major. However, our species has been with you here since the beginning. Each time your societies have started over and have used a different version of the money system or a regurgitated version of the money system, we were there. Our species also is responsible for putting holes in your money system, not only energetically, but in coinage as well. This is who this one and yourself were suspecting aided in putting holes in the Japanese yen and other money. Eventually, that influence will spread to the rest of the coinage. But by that time, it will have gone to a more chip or digital means. But there are ways around that as well. We are more of an energetically influential species, but we do have technology. We do have spaceships, but they are small. Some of the tiny ships that you see around your world are indeed as such, but there are many other species that do the same. We, upon request, also can help people gain a better financial standing in their own lives. However, we more aid a more honorable path when it comes to finances. The substance must be there. The spiritual and honorable and energetic substance must be there. Yes, we will help people gain money standing in smaller things, but the bulk of what is being sold must indeed have a positive, energetic, and balanced standing substance, very much like a story that requires a good script. We require this of business owners and their materials. We do not aid in all business areas like corporations, because those are the ones that step on the underdog, as you would say, putting business above all others. We look for people that meld these two principles together, spiritual and business. At this point in our speech, we can entertain questions.
So I'm hoping you guys can tell just a little bit more about you and your race. In general, you did just mention that you are actively working with humans to repay a kindness that was done, but tell us a little bit about your race. Were you just colonized here? Was this planet your home? Do you have fellow people on a different world? Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
We came from a distant part of what you call the Milky Way galaxy, near the outer edge, close to the Antumban homeworld. Not in their system, but from your viewpoint, it would be slightly more askewed leftward from the Antumban homeworld, which is directly behind Orion on the outer rim. Our world is indeed visible, so are the stars that inhabit our system. We have a dual-starred system, not unlike Sirius, but it is much, as you would say, higher in the sky than Sirius. We are on the outer rim, as we've said, but had the ability to travel the causeways and byways, as you would say, bifrost of the galaxy, entering your system ages ago when the area was thriving and teeming with life, during the time of what you would call the Tartarian Empire. But it was not always named as such. When that was wiped from history, or supposedly wiped from history, we engaged other humans in the kindness they showed us. What happened was this: during the old wars, when the harvesters started to conduct the farming, humans saw our people being eradicated by the thousands because we had a genome immune to the influence. But in this, we then saw the kindness and heart space, heartfelt version of humans. They pulled us up out of the muck that was being created, which then happened again during your mud flood periods later on in history. Parts of our society were being wiped out along with the Tartarian Empire. But the first mud flood, you would say, almost wiped out our kind. That would be what you would refer to as Noah's flood. Humans guided us down into the inner earth, along with other groups, like the ant people guiding them. What was left of our kind then thrived in Agartha, and eventually we found portals back to our own homeworld. Our own homeworld is thriving because of the fact that the kindness of strangers at the time prevailed over that of fear and hatred, which came later in your histories when the timeline changes began. That is now correcting itself. This is why we are making ourselves known at this point in your history.
Well, thank you. And it's, are you guys still, your genome still not affected by what the darkness is trying to do? Are you still maintaining that?
Indeed, we are maintaining that same immunity. You would call it mental and physical immunity. This is why they cannot strike at us, because they do not have the energy. They lack the energy to be able to destroy us once again, as they did in that time, to take out as many. Doesn't mean they have not tried to attack us, it's just that they lack the strength to do so.
So what's interesting from other races we've heard from is they have felt maybe a little abandoned by their homeworlds when the darkness came in, because I don't think they have that immunity, and it became too dangerous. And so in a sense, even though there was well wishes, people were kind of quarantined to here if you were a race that wasn't immune to it. I find it interesting that you say you guys can portal back and forth to your home world. So do most of you do that as a part, of being here? You spend time here. I'm assuming you're in a working mode, being here, trying to help raising energies, but then do you go back home to replenish yourself since your home world's doing so well?
Indeed, the races that you would call the Galactic Federation of Worlds set up a quarantine. We are immune to such shielding, and we can pass straight through this. Also, we can alter the threads of the universe. This is how we can favor some merchants over the other. We change what you would call luck. The representatives of the Galactic Federation, notice they were not immune to this tampering and left us alone. Yes, we do indeed love to go home and recover from time to time, as you would say, take a vacation, while others of our kind take our place. We do have individual names, but the majority of the galaxy, you call the Milky Way, calls us the Kajal, which is our species name. We do indeed pass through the gates of Agartha and use the portals there, but we can create our own on the surface whenever we wish.
So I am curious, can you describe a little bit of your home world? What is it like there?
Think of how you would describe termite mounds, but larger than your redwood trees. They do have plant life sticking out of them that we plant like gardens. And you can enter at any point on what you would perceive to be little terracotta platforms along the sides. Yes, they do resemble termite mounds, but they are made of other natural materials that we fire into place, very much like your pottery. These particular mounds then lead down underground into our planet. But our planet looks very much like your own, with bluish, turquoise-ish colored skies and clouds very much like your own. Our homeworld is slightly larger than yours, and there are also a couple other species that inhabit our world, such as animal species and a couple other sentient species which will contact you at some point in the future.
And so you don't need any technology for breathing. Your atmosphere is kind of similar to ours.
Yes, we have a variation of oxygen and nitrogen, very much like your own.
Okay, so I am curious now. I had asked this before of someone else because in my mind, I'm very curious to know how are the races currently here on Earth, since we all have the same agenda to move these energies forward, to correct what has occurred, how everybody was kind of getting along, was everybody being able to work together. I didn't get a resounding yes. I certainly didn't get that. I wished it was a little bit more solid than what it sounded. So I'm curious about what is your race's interaction with the other races here, let's say be it Sasquatch, Dogman, Lyran, other Agarthan races, and are you working with anyone or pretty much doing your own thing?
We are doing our own thing. You would say we have an agenda, but we do work loosely with other races. Some fear us because of our ability to tamper with what some have called luck and luck threads and aspects of time. But this is a natural ability of our people to come and go through these threads and quantum entanglements, you would say. Other races do indeed get along with each other loosely, but that is changing in these times where it's becoming more cohesive. But this will be something that happens over a period of time, not like it was in the olden days. But once you get to a certain level, then it will be. Forgive the interference on speech. There are some signals hitting both of you currently. This does not affect our kind in the slightest, but we can be scanned for. This is what's affecting the speech at this time. But as I am saying, as it was in the past during your Tartarian period and before, can be again. Your kind saw yourselves as one, along with other races. Those other races at one time saw the same. This can happen once again.
Well, that's good to know. And again, everybody's kind of moving together. So I'm curious, since you just said that there was a bit of fear other races had towards you. Is there, I'm going to say this, why out of curiosity, meaning sometimes people do things, they think they're funny, being mischievous, but they're actually irritating somebody else. I mean, has there been anything that your race or some of the people of your race done in the past that gives any credence to some, standoffishness to you?
Indeed, we saw mischievous races in your past, very much like the Jinn and other races that we were able to, you would say, recombobulate their quantum threads. Other races saw this ability and cringed because they felt we would do that to them. The fear began also because of the harvesters later on in history. Humans saw us as more mystical and also demonic. Some of us saw us as, like the Jinn, being able to control the threads of existence. This is not true. The Jinn had a very similar ability in their original evolutionary chain. This is why they were captured as well. This is also why the harvesters feared us, because they could not chain us, and we could alter the fabric of even a harvest that they have conducted. So if they have captured souls, we could, you would say, reconstitute an entire battlefield, you would say, and bring back the warriors that died on that battlefield. However, as we have been told, this would disrupt human current evolution in the grand experiment, so we have backed off in this pursuit. But we can integrate things as we see fit to the highest benefit of humanity and our own heart spaces, as we see some of the suffering of others, very much like I've said, your financial system. Your other races also fear us because of our appearance sometimes. very much like how your species probably would. Your species have spotted us in the past and seen us as some kind of demon or some kind of forest magician. Neither is true. In this respect, I must also send out apologies that our appearance has caused. If we were to appear in a casual setting, other races would more than likely not sit at the same table with us.
So it's kind of interesting you say that, because the one thing that kind of goes through my mind, and you may not be related at all, but it's the only thing I can come up with, is maybe if you were as tall as a human as if you made yourself as tall as a human, that you maybe would look somewhat like, let's say, the Mothman or something like that. I don't know if you do that. I mean, is that what you're saying as far as giving some sort of visualization as what people have seen that scared them?
Indeed, the Mothman species are indeed related to us as well. They can fill in their own particular lineages, but we are more of a cousinship to them. However, we have more of a, you would say, a mixture of bug and human features in our face. We do have human-like arms, but with separations in the arms, very much like how you would see a bug have. The same goes with our legs. However, we have also wasp appendages behind us and a triple thorax, you would say.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Well, I'm going to ask you to give any last words, because the park is filling up and there are people coming around us, and I'm sure we'll have a conversation again. But if any last words from you.
Indeed. Just know that our kind is here to walk in the mud with you, because of the fact that you walked in the mud with us to save our kind. We repay in kind. You may be skeptical of this, as these two were, because of the jinn influences, and we do also share lineages with them as well, but we are not they. And various other species that have been mistaken for them are not they. They had similar abilities to us to mold these quantum threads. This is where you get genie from, to be able to grant any wishes, but those wishes reverb across those quantum threads, and you would call this effect karma or karmic debt building up, if you would say this. So my last words to you are this: definitely be skeptical. We appreciate this. Be skeptical of the intentions of all beings, including our own people. Be skeptical of all of this, but use your own discernment, heart space, and intuition to tell you if something is right or not for you. We are the Kajal, and we thank you.
Thank you.
Ooh. Yeah, it's brighter, but it's a different coloring out here. Mm-hmm. It's not green. It's more of a blue, a bluish gray. That's kind of like their coloring. Their coloring has green in it, but it's mostly bluish gray. Kind of like how what a mod dauber would look like. They look like those bugs that are like blue wasps. That's their coloring. They have a luminescent blue to them like that, and black and gray, and they have a human-like face. Humans have indeed seen them before. You might see like a flash or something when they're around, or you might see something floating near you in a business, like say a shop or something like that. That's them. You're seeing the wing fluttering. You're not just seeing energy patterns. You're seeing the wings moving, like how you'd see a hummingbird move quick like that. So they're saying there's a dragonfly species like them too. So that's interesting. So thank you to the Kajal, and we will end this here because it is actually getting crowded here. So thank you everybody for watching this episode of A Talk with the Elementals. Bye-bye everybody.
Bye.